Have you ever sat down while playing your modded Skyrim and realized some of the mods you are using are old? What if we could replace those older mods when it comes to performance, to bugs, crashes, and our game feeling better? What if we could replace all of those with the best mods that exist now that they do just more? I am going to cover 9 mods that you should use and replace older variations of those. I'm gonna cover them with time lapses, and before we begin, my name is Kavou. If you like those type of videos, throw a like, subscribe, comment down below. Also watch the outro because I have an announcement to make of a new series that I will cover. Without losing more time, let's begin. I am going to start with the basics, and let's begin with Pandora Behaviour Engine Plus. This is a short type of mod that works like a framework, similar to Loot, where you are going to have it run outside of your game. This is the best tool we have when it comes to updating all of the physics, all of the animations, and all of this hoopla when it comes to playing Skyrim. Before that, I for a very long time was using Nemesis, and Nemesis takes forever to load animations. It's very much broken when it comes to the installation. Many of you guys had numerous complaints when it came down to my videos covering Nemesis many years ago, and again it's an extremely old mod. Pandora Behaviour Engine, it is going to take literally seconds to update any animation you have in the game. It is the fastest and best tool we have when it comes to what it does, and all of the mods that are made, including the older ones, they are built to work with this. It's extremely simple to install and use, and I would recommend to replace Nemesis if for some godforsaken reason you're still using FNIS. Just get the Pandora Behaviour Engine. It will be one of your best decisions of your life. Trust me on that one. Now let's continue with the physics and the animations, and we have the Open Animation Replace. You have no idea how confused I was when Open Animation Replacer came 2 years ago, and I had no idea which should I use. Should I use OR, aka Open Animation Replacer, or should I use its older version DAR, which stands for Dynamic Animation Replacer? Both of those mods, they are doing the exact same thing. However, Open Animation Replacer is the best mod you can get, the best mod on the market when it comes to updating anything that has to do with animations. Unlike Pandora Behaviour Engine, you need to install this and put it on your lot order. Every single mod that comes out and supports physics in any way, shape or form, it runs with Open Animation Replacer. You can still use DAR, but DAR is extremely outdated and it causes a lot of problems. So I would recommend you to use Open Animation Replacer until we get something better, which I don't see that day coming, because Open Animation Replacer, just like you, it's perfect the way it is. Let's move to the next mod, and this is the HDT-SMP Vanilla Armors. And this is not a replacer for faster HDT, you should use those two together. However, I've been using mods like CBPC or some extra physics type of mods that usually work with 3BA. My point is, if you simply install CBB, which is the best mod out there, while running faster HDT and HDT-SMP Vanilla Armors, you will not need any other mod that used to do the same. Few months ago, I stopped using CBPC, which is a mod very famous for adding extra saucy physics, which we don't need to use that anymore, so we can save performance and FPS while using the best stuff on the market, that is again faster HDT with the SMP Vanilla Armors, which both of those two mods are getting constant updates and they work perfectly fine with CBB. That being said, use those and remove any other older mods that adjust the physics. You don't need them anymore while having those two installed. Now let's move to a different type of mods, and I'm going to begin with something that I would never dream that I will cover. We finally got a replacer for Enhanced Blood, and it's called Sanguine Symphony. Some of you guys have told me about Sanguine Symphony maybe a month ago if I remember correctly. I always read your comments, so I checked this mod out, and at first I thought this was a combat type of mod. Sanguine Symphony overhauls all the blood splatter when it comes to Skyrim. It makes everything look so much more awesome and way more badass than Enhanced Blood. It doesn't require a million patches like the Enhanced Blood that everybody was using before, and it runs perfectly fine while saving performance and giving us the best looks. Before Sanguine Symphony I had to use Enhanced Blood, and it wasn't a long time ago when everybody was using the light version of Enhanced Blood because of how buggy Enhanced Blood was, let alone all of the million of patches. We don't have to deal with any of this crap anymore because we have Sanguine Symphony. I am not going to completely explain what this mod does, but imagine that anything that has to do with injuries, with blood splatter, when you hit enemies, or when you are going to put an Azim on the ground, you're gonna have way better visuals when it comes to the blood splatter in the game. An amazing mod, and in my opinion, one of the best newest mods we've got this year. So check Sanguine Symphony out, and thank you for commenting down in the comments about this. Then I'm gonna cover something that I've covered a million times. You guys know that I always like to repeat myself. Let's make it fast with the next one. This is R.A.S.S. R.A.S.S is going to change the effects when it comes to cold or the weather or the rain, and it's an amazing, outstanding mod. It's very modern, very light when it comes to all of the scripts that it runs. Before that we had to use the wet and cold, which was an extremely problematic mod, and many people, including myself, have made multiple videos covering that you should stop using wet and cold. It's extremely old, it's outdated, and it doesn't matter how many patches you are putting on wet and cold, it will never surpass what R.A.S.S does, which again it adds effects based on the weather, which adds to the immersion of the game. Next, let's move to the snow and the ice textures. Not this type of ice. We have the Simplicity series, Simplicity of Snow and Simplicity of Ice, which are going to cover anything that comes down with snow that doesn't make sense that the vanilla game has. Everybody was using better dynamic snow, myself included, for the longest of time, and I was even using parallax textures with better dynamic snow. However, I've noticed over the past year that Simplicity of Snow, it is such a light mod when it comes to what it does. It covers everything. When it comes to snows, it does the exact same thing that better dynamic snow does. The only difference is that it's way more modern, it requires less patches, and it's way easier to navigate and use, and you can combine that with the simplicity of R.A.S.S. Using those two mods together, they are going to overhaul the weather when it comes to snow in Skyrim and the R.A.S.S in shortest time. No, it's not called that, but I'm going to call it like that because that's my home. That being said, use a simplicity of type of series instead of better dynamic snow, a mod that I will always going to use. And next, let's move to the books of Skyrim. I was using a bunch of mods, so many that I'm going to ignore naming them in this video. I was having over 5 or 6 different type of overhauls when it came down books. However, we've got the mod called Bookem. And tell me why you should have one mod to fix the common books, how they look, another mod to fix the book behavior, or another mod to overhaul, let's say, the spell tomes, and I can go on and on, while you could use Bookem, which essentially is the granddaddy of book type of mods, all combined in a single one. You won't have to use mods like Books of Skyrim or Lost Library or patches for Legacy of the Dragonborn and all of that. This one mod essentially combines everything together. Imagine what looks does to lighting when it comes to Skyrim, Bookem does it for the book type of mod. So again, grab this one and replace every single book type of overhaul you have, because this mod is going to do the exact same. It is even going to add glow options if you want for unread books. It will give you options like getting XP when you read books, so many configurations with the MCM menu, that again, this has to be the best book overhaul type of mod that we have out of the game. It even adds animations when it comes to reading books. This is such a fantastic mod, and again, something I found out very recently because of how new this mod is, and it's a fantastic mod to have. Next, I'm going going to cheat a little because I'm going to sort of combine a bunch of mods, but don't you like decapitations when it comes to Skyrim or dismembering your enemies, and more specifically Nazim? Well, we have the next gen decapitations, and there is a bunch of mods with this, like the simple beheading or the dismembering framework. I'm gonna have everything linked down of the mods you usually use. My point is, before this mod we had to use a bunch of redundant and old mods that will add dismembering and the same sort of effect when it comes to combat. However, next gen decapitations and all of the requirements and all of those mods combined together, they are going to fix that in a way where again it's super light when it comes to scripts. As a plugin, it's the best we have on the market, and any type of decapitations, dismember type of mods you have, like Gorkap was a very old mod that added decapitations and stuff like that. You don't have to use anymore, just use the next gen decapitations, a fantastic mod to have. And lastly, let's speak about the unofficial Skyrim patch. No, we haven't found something better than the unofficial Skyrim patch. However, over the past year I've realized that there is also the unofficial patch for modders. Most of the times I was only using the unofficial Skyrim patch while ignoring the unofficial patch for modders. Those are two different modes, and what the unofficial patch for modder does, it counts and points down hundreds and hundreds of bug fixes of mods that exist out there that the unofficial Skyrim modders patch is going to fix. You can hover to the mod page and read that, but I will recommend you, anytime you mod your Skyrim, it doesn't matter if your load order is going to be as light as mine, as I'm showcasing here. I'm roughly using 100 mods in this, and it doesn't matter if you're using thousands upon thousands of mods. Always use the unofficial Skyrim modders patch, which is going to add you again so many fixes for so many mods that is absolutely fantastic, and you should always use with unofficial Skyrim patch. And with those two mods together, you will not have to worry about installing hundreds of patches for a bunch of mods. Again, you can read all of those patches and what the USMP does or covers when it comes to that. That being said, that was the 9 mods that I wanted to cover for you to use, the most modern ones that you usually use in order to replace any older mods that kinda do the same. So if you like this video, let me know by liking, by subscribing, by commenting down below. About the outro, I've read your comments and I have to make a small announcement because I will be traveling the next few months. I will be editing and modding Skyrim on my laptop. My laptop has some issues such as not being able to run ENB or shaders. That being said, I will do the best I can to cover mods in a much more simplistic approach. Talking about that, I'm gonna make a completely new series covering every single mod we could use to replace the Creation Club mods that Bethesda has introduced. I'm gonna break it down to episodes, so again, if you're interested into that, feel free to follow the channel. I don't know how often I will be able to upload videos from the next week, but I will do the best I can to keep a schedule and upload as much as I can. So again, for those very few who've made it through the end of the video, expect fewer uploads in the next 2 months. Again, I will do the best I can. Thank you so much for your support, thank you so much for watching, and as always, stay safe and happy modding.